really balanced mix of oxygen and oxygen and acetylene. If I use too much acetylene, then I'll have what's called a carburizing flame, which is actually a soft heat and it spreads it out. So it's great for doing things like annealing copper, bringing it up a large surface area up to temperature. If I pull it back to neutral, that feather will just disappear, and then I can put too much oxygen. And this is good for making sparks and cleaning off the gradu, the slag, from the previously welded areas. But a neutral flame is the best for the welding. So I've got it cranked up a little bit so it's a little bit aggressive, but not too much. And this is just a background, just a backstop. So don't worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. It's as though it's not there. This is baling wire. Farmers use this for welding rod. And it works great. Learned about that from a farmer. He said, "What is that you're using?" I said, "That's welding rod from the welding supply, R45. He said, "I ain't never used nothing but baling wire." So I went and bought some baling wire, 150 feet, 150 pounds, whatever it is, for less than $100. So I'm still using that same roll. Okay, I'm going to try to imitate an agave, which is elongated S-curve. So I got that. I'm going to try to attach to this root up here. Root. And then I'm going to bend back like this. And then it's going to end in a point, but I'm going to join another piece to it that's thinner material. So I'll cut it off and twist it and roll it downhill. And that leaves a very little mushroom on the top, which is not what I want, because I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to weld this here, make sure it stays put. There it is. It's separated just a little when I let go. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one. I'll do another piece. Heat up the 1/4 inch round. Notice the heat goes all the way around the piece, right? Wraps it. So the temperature on the back is almost the same as the temperature on the front. So I can use this top area, shoot the heat across. Okay, and then I'll just take this guy. He'll be a shorter guy. And I don't want to relate too much to what's in the background because I don't want to busy it up. So I'll make him shorter and have him fit kind of right in this space here. Bend over and twist. And then I'll heat up here and push him to the back just a little. Okay, then we'll do another one over here, and this guy will be the bent over. Heat on the top after it's all molten. I mean all orange. Sorry. I'm gonna pad a little bit, put a little bit more, just melting the very end of the rod off. And I wish you could see this because it's beautiful. All right, and then we'll take this up at an angle, like the other ones. But then he's going to get bent over. And we'll do this. And this. Right at the end. Actually, it's kind of nice that I can get it to meet up with this other one over here. This other 1/4 inch round. Heat up the 1/4 inch. I can lift it a little bit if I don't want the heat to get on the piece that I'm welding to it. and then put it down when I want to get it on there, and then we'll make this junction smooth. Okay? This is harder now. If I go on this side, it's all backhanded. So I'm gonna do a thing here. Put this one behind this other one. And we'll make him shorter. Oops. Here's a trick. I don't need to do the trick. Never mind. I could get that drop back on the end of this if I wanted to. Let me put this here, get the rod hot. Try not to touch what I've already had up to 2,000 degrees. So I'm a little shaky. Put that in there. I'm not going to worry about reinforcing it just yet. Do a little bend. And then straight away on him, I'll bend him back in the opposite direction. So we'll put a little more bend in here. Yeah. And then weld the two together. Talk about recycling on the hoof. Okay, we'll take this guy up. Maybe he'll be the longest one. No, he'll only go to that break. Right there. And one more. Then the fun stuff will begin. And I'll hit him on this side too. Using only the volumes of the materials that I'm using, not adding anything to it. Normally you would add welding rod. I'll put him out this way. Give him a little sharper bend there. And I'm not going to have him touch the silhouette. I'm just going to have him off in space. Push him back a little bit. Now, if I was not working in 2-dimension, I'd have all kinds of fun room to play with bringing things forward and hiding things behind. All right. So let's do something fancy here on this one. I'll make a sharper point because them agave's got sharp points. I got scars to prove it. Okay, now I want to let that weld freeze. If I don't, it's gonna fracture when I go to move it. But I'll heat the weld up now that it's cooled, and run it down a little bit, and then we'll put this like this, bend up, and cut it, and I want to use some of the volume of the rod that I'm cutting as a ramp to make this more convincing. I wanted to show how to make a junction in two rods that are different lengths. And I'm going to start the heat on this guy, and I want it to go in a little bit, contour the back of the horse's head. So I'm going to start it in one direction, which is out from this one because my hand has nowhere to be. So I'll pull it really pretty straight out. And then I'll heat this guy here and bring that back in. I'm going to crank this up. some work done. In everything I do, I try to do gradual curves. I don't like sharp curves unless it's going to be expressive in some way. Now I'm gonna bend some more of this toward me. And there's method to my madness. Let me bend this one upright a little bit. Now remember when I quit working on this the last time, I had left this one because I didn't think it would join up with this one. So it still may not. But I don't want it to confuse the detail of this is an arm. And I don't want it to confuse that detail. So I'm going to try to stay separate. And then I've rounded the tips of both of these rods. They're 1/4-inch rods, trying to get it all in the same plane. And bingo. And I whip the torch a little bit and it gets the two puddles to flow together. But each one of them is independently molten until I do that whipping of the torch. Alright, now this is straight. Don't want it to be straight. So I'm going to bend it up a little bit. Work in between these two contours. And then keep the heat moving down the length of the rod into the cold and back into the heat and draw the heat forward. Into the cold, back into the heat, draw the heat forward. Keep working it that way. Now what about this poor guy? He's just sort of sticking up there, just hanging out. I can either cut it again where I welded it, or I can just continue on with it, which is what I think I'll do. It's more efficient. I already have the heat in the material. And I'll just head for this point down here. Down here. And it'll bend easy right there at the skinny part, so I don't want to put too much pressure on it when I go through that work. Okay, now we're good and we can join up right here where this one is in the same inclination as the one I'm bending. So I'll cut it off right here. Same thing I was doing with the little stuff. Bend up and then twist and get it to come off there. You don't want it slinging stuff on you, hot stuff on you, so you have to be careful when you do it. Alright, then the time-worn pliers, just in case this one got hot. And I'll pull the heat down here, pull this guy over a little bit so he's encroaching on this other one, estimate the length, and go a little bit below it, like that. You do the heat, and this one's going to go back some, so I'm going to cut it right here. With my pliers, estimate where the greatest bend outward is, toward me. I think it's right in here. I don't want to change the shape. Yeah, I don't really want to change the shape of the curve. Maybe I need to go even up here. Some more bend in it. One way or another. But it's there. I can use the extra material on the back side where I cut it, and use that in the welding. I'll wash a little of this down for added strength. And it's not exactly squared up. So I'll just twist and torque it back while it's still hot. And get everything lined up.